a horrifically lit first part of a 3-book vlog with Michelle from Michelle's Library. We gave each other a list of 3 5-star books that we've had across our entire lives. And we wanted to see how our reading tastes match up. We wanted to see if we loved it as much as the other person loved it, or if we hated it, and we never wanted to speak to each other and get recommendations from each other ever again. So I have got 3 books that I need to get through. Michelle has got 3 books from me that she needs to get through. And the first one that I'm going to get through is The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. You will have seen in a kind of a try chapter that I did all the way back in March, you will have seen that I said, I want to put this aside for a couple of months, but gods have spoken. It's March now. It is the 24th. It is Friday evening. I'm going to sit down with this. I have a cup of tea beside me. I have got Richard Osman's House of Games on my tablet in front of me. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to crack into this properly. Also, as per usual, the bookmark ribbon matches the book, and we have got one that says, oh, I'm going to use this hand, all of this. Oh, but if it's in German, I don't know what it means. You're welcome. Die Kunst zu leben besteht darin, zu lernen, im Regen zu tanzen, anstatt auf die Sonne zu warten, which means that the art of life is learning how to dance in the rain rather than wait for the sun to come out. I'm going to go and read my book now. As of now, I am about 60% into The Paris Apartment, and if I know Michelle, and I do, I fully believe that the reason she gave this 5 stars is the ending. She is a very kind of vibes person, and if she's hated a book the whole way through and she hasn't really gelled with it and she didn't like the storyline, but then something comes along at the end and it completely blows her mind, she gives that book a 5 star. And that's her prerogative, and that is how she reviews books, and it's completely fine, and everyone reviews books differently, but I have not seen anything that is making me give this a 5 star since. Nothing here is making me think this is a 5-star book. Nothing here is giving me that vibe, because I don't care about these characters. I don't care about these people. I don't care about like any of the events that are happening to them. I don't care about the intricate ways that they are all related to each other, that they all know each other. I'm going to finish it mainly because I want to know what's happening, just to get to the bottom of it, and because I cannot find a summary online. But it's a kind of a begrudging one, and I think at the moment the highest this is going to get from me is probably a 3. I DNF'd it. I say constantly that life is too short to read a bad book. Life is too short to continue reading a book that you're not enjoying. So I DNF'd it. I don't care about these people. I don't care about what is happening to them. I don't care about whether this guy is dead or alive or in a ditch or locked in a room or wherever he may be, whatever he may be doing. So inconsequential to my life. The next book on this is going to go a little bit better. I haven't decided which one of the 2 I'm going to go with yet. I am going to either pick up The Charm Offensive or A Brush with Love. I'll have a think about it and I'll get back to you. For the second book of this project, I am now on my way to the shop and I am about to start A Brush with Love by Maisie Eddings. I will admit, I have been putting this book off for quite some time. I've been putting this book off for a while. And I think that the reason I've been putting it off is because it focuses quite a lot on a dentist, dental surgeon, dental work, a dental surgery, anything to do with dental stuff. If you're new here, I had pretty much my entire mouth rearranged, renewed, everything around the late stages of last year, but I spent quite a lot of last year in and out of the dental surgery, having operations, having really intense extra fillings put in, having extractions, everything you can think of that happens to your teeth, I had it done. So I did have to give myself a little bit of a wide berth about this one. I did have to give myself a little bit of extra time. Don't necessarily know if now is the perfect time, but I'm going to give it a go anyway, because Michelle has deemed it possible for me to do so. Take a moment to do what I am about to do yourself. I am at present 69% of the way through A Brush with Love. There are a couple of things that I love about this book. There are a couple of things that I'm not so sure about. First of all, it's an insta-love book, and that has never ever been Aoife's thing. I don't really adhere to insta-love. I feel like it needs to be spread out a little bit more throughout the book. I need to see a little bit more of a slow burn. I'm not like a huge slow burn lover either, but it does need to be somewhere in the middle for me. I don't want them to just instantly fall in love and instantly start planning weddings and moving in together and kids. But also I don't want the relationship to take 700 pages of angst and
miscommunication. So I wish it was just a little bit more somewhere in the middle, but Dan and Harper pretty much met and instantly knew that this is my person. I would have loved to see that a little bit more stretched out. Something else that I would have loved to see a little bit more of is that Dan came from a mixed faith background. His dad was Catholic or some flavour of Christianity, and his mother is Muslim. And I really would have loved to see what his childhood was like growing up with such different faiths in the household. How has that shaped him as a person? What is it like in his daily life now? Is there one of the religions that he kind of leans a little bit more towards or leans a little bit more away from? I feel like it was just kind of mentioned that his parents were of different faith backgrounds, and then we never really hear about it again. The things that I really like about this book, and there are quite a few of them, is that I think there is a description of sexism in the workplace where Harper is a quite senior last year student, I think final year student in dentistry, and she is brought in to take care of an extraction. Now, I've, as I said, had quite a few extractions in the most recent past, and they can be quite difficult. I've had a couple of quite difficult ones because they've been impacted, or the anesthesia that I was put under wasn't strong enough, so I did feel it a little bit, which was not pleasant. But the person in the book who was receiving the extractions was so awful to her. He was an absolute shitbag. And I'm not going to pretend that this isn't something that's based in real life. I'm not going to pretend that this isn't something that female medical practitioners aren't subjected to every single day, where people will ask, like men mainly, will ask for a female doctor to leave the room, or will ask for a second opinion from a male doctor who might even be lower on the scale than this female doctor who has given them a completely valid diagnosis. I also really like the portrayal of Harper's anxiety and her kind of insecurities and her low self-esteem. I myself have quite a lot of anxiety issues, so I felt like this was something that I would connect with a lot in this book, and I have. I feel like this is something that I see a lot of myself on in the pages. It hasn't been as medically triggering as I thought that it would be for me. I haven't had a moment where I've had to turn the book off and say, I can't listen to this anymore. I can't keep reading this. I have to take a break from it. That hasn't happened, thankfully. I think I'm enjoying it a bit more than I thought that I would. If I was to run it through Callpaw right now, it would probably get a 4 to a 4.5. It would probably be like on the lower scale of a 4.5 to the upper scale of just a regular 4. But I'm going to keep listening to it for the rest of the day. I've got a couple of meetings at work. I need to go out after work to go to the shops. I'm going to bring the book with me. I'm going to see how much of it I can get through. But so far, this is already going better than The Paris Apartment. We're on to the final book of this experiment. That is The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrane. I haven't read any of her books yet. I know that everyone and their mother was reading Meet Her Under the Mistletoe or Meet Me Under the Mistletoe last Christmas and loved it, and was spellbound by it. For some reason, it completely passed me by. I think I just didn't have time to pick it up. I couldn't fit it into my reading, and then December came, and December is a usual kind of slumpy month for me. I'm going to go back to what I believe is her debut novel, and I have read through Michelle's Goodreads review. I'm not entirely sure if that's something I should have done, but I've done it anyway. And she said that there is great mental health representation in this. There is great depression representation in this, I think. I'm going to listen to the audiobook on Scribd. And I said to myself, if there was one book in this that I enjoyed more than the others, I was going to permit myself to buy it. Given how this challenge has gone so far, I think this might be the candidate for that. I think this might be the book that I'm going to buy. And I have seen it around in a lot of bookshops here in Berlin. There's a couple of places that I've seen it in, and I've held back until now.
One eternity later.
I can't accurately tell you how many weeks it's been since I filmed that clip, but it is quite a few. But I have actually started to read the book now, and I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a bit more than I thought I was anticipating to enjoy it. There is a lot to discuss about it. Like Michelle was telling me, and like a lot of the reviews that I have read, there is really great mental health representation in here. There is really great anxiety representation. There is really great depression representation. I'm also really enjoying the fact that it is just set on a reality TV show, and I love books that are set on reality TV shows. But there are a couple of things that I do have some questions about. There is a trip that everyone involved in the show goes on, and it's leading to a one-bed situation. And don't get me wrong, I obsess over a one-bed situation. I love them. I am here for them. I don't know if in this situation a one-bed situation would actually happen. I don't know if this is where a one-bed would come from. And I'm also a little bit intrigued as to why this appears to be happening right around the world. That they have been in Munich last week, that they have been in South Africa, and they have been across the US. I don't know if that's something that I have seen on any other dating show. I don't know if that's something I've seen on any other reality TV show, full stop. But I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I like the spice level. It's not too high. I feel like it could be a little bit higher, but I like it. Let's keep going. So, we're done. I finished The Charm Offensive this morning while I was at work, and I have got some thoughts. I think overall, this was the best book that I had read, but it wasn't without its troubles for me. There were a couple of things that I would have loved to have seen more of. There were a couple of things that I didn't love how it was portrayed. For example, Dev comes from an Indian background, and I really would have loved to see that developed a little bit more. I would have loved to have seen some stuff about his culture, some stuff about his heritage, about his upbringing, about his family's immigration to America. That was something that I feel like was just kind of dusted over, where it could have made for a really important discussion. It could have made for a really great discussion, especially with Dave being LGBT and some kind of cultural conservatism that comes from being of an Indian background. Also, there were a couple of kind of 180s that a lot of characters did throughout this book, and I really loved seeing that. But I felt like one of them kind of came really out of nowhere, and I really would have loved to see that kind of more subtly implied, or a little bit more of a change of situation with this person. I feel like if you've read the book, you know who it is that I'm talking about. Overall, it was a really great book. I do still think that this is going to be the one that I would buy either physically or as an e-copy. I still think that this is the one that I would keep. Overall, none of these books were 5 stars. So maybe Michelle and I don't necessarily have the same taste as we were expecting to. Because I gave one of them, I think, a 3 star. I DNF'd one of them, and I gave one of them a 4. Maybe a high 4 to a medium low 4.5 star. Maybe Michelle and I don't really line up that well with our ratings. That was my very first reading like one of my friends. I feel like overall it was kind of mixed bag. It was somewhat successful, but there was a little bit of a mixed bag vibe in there as well. But it's definitely one that I am going to do again. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.